They say the best businesses solve a problem. I never thought my problem would be survival. It all started 6 months ago. Money was tight. My job barely covered rent, and I needed a side hustle, something easy, something I could do on my own time. I scrolled through endless passive income articles, everything from flipping thrift store junk to running an Etsy shop. Then I saw it. Make dollar fast, low overhead, high demand. Start a private garbage collection business today. It made sense. My town was small, too small for a real waste management service. Most people relied on the county dump, but that was an hour's drive away. So I bought a second-hand pickup, printed some flyers, and started offering private trash pickup for a small fee. No contracts, no overhead, just me, my truck, and a trailer. It was simple, it was easy, it was never supposed to be anything more than a side gig. But then the calls started. My first few customers were normal enough. The old couple on Sycamore Street couldn't drive to the dump anymore. The bar down on Main, too much trash, not enough space. A few farmhouses on the outskirts, happy to pay extra for convenience. Then, one night, my phone buzzed at exactly 12:01 a.m. Unknown number. I hesitated but answered. A voice, low, wheezing, deliberate. "Do you take special requests?" Something about the way he said it made my stomach twist. But money was money. "Depends," I said. "What are we talking?" A pause. Then, "Pick up at the old mill. Bring a tarp." The line went dead. Rule number 1 of running a small business: know when to say no. Welcome, traveller, to Dreadwood Tales, a place where the shadows whisper and the unknown awaits. If you crave chilling stories of the eerie and unexplained, you're in the right place. But beware, your support fuels the darkness. Like, comment, and subscribe to keep the stories coming, and to shape what horrors we uncover next. Have a nightmare to share? A legend to explore? Drop it in the comments. Your suggestion might just become our next tale. Now, let's step into the dark together. I should have said no. I should have ignored the call, gone to bed, and never answered an unknown number again. Instead, I loaded up my truck and drove out to the abandoned sawmill on the edge of town. The lot was empty, the building rotting, half-collapsed, windows broken. The air smelled like mildew and something else, something rancid. A single trash bag sat in the center of the lot. I killed my engine. Silence. No wind. No crickets. Just my own breathing. I grabbed my gloves, stepped out, and went to work. The moment I touched the bag, something inside moved. Not like garbage shifting. Like something was alive. A thick, wet thump against the plastic. I nearly dropped it. I should have left it there, but instead, I did what I was paid to do. I tied up the tarp, loaded the bag onto my truck, and drove away. That was my first mistake. My second mistake? I opened it. If you got a late-night call offering fast cash for something shady, would you say yes? Let me know below. Hit that like button if you're ready for part 2, because once he opens the bag, there's no turning back. I should have driven straight to the dump. I should have tossed that bag onto the pile and never looked back. Instead, I pulled over at a gas station just outside town. It was past 2 a.m., the kind of hour where even the lights seemed too dim, where even the air felt thinner. The bag sat in the bed of my truck, still, silent. But I knew what I had felt. I grabbed a box cutter from the glove compartment, my hands shaking just enough to make me hesitate. One quick cut, just enough to peek inside. That was my third mistake. I sliced the plastic, peeling it back slowly. A thick, foul-smelling liquid leaked out, pooling at the base of the truck bed. Then I saw it. A hand. Pale. Too pale. Not rotting, not decomposing, but wrong. I've seen plenty of roadkill, plenty of things that had no business still looking human. But this wasn't that. This wasn't dead. The fingers twitched. I fell back against the side of my truck, my heart slamming in my chest. I was wide awake now. I yanked the plastic closed and jumped into the driver's seat. My brain screamed to get rid of it, to throw the whole damn thing onto the pavement and leave. But I didn't, because in the rearview mirror, the bag moved. It didn't just shift. It sat up. I floored it. The back roads blurred into streaks of headlights and darkness as I drove like I had somewhere to go. But I didn't. Where the hell was I supposed to take this? I couldn't dump it in town. I couldn't call the cops. So I drove, and the longer I drove, the more I realized something was wrong. The radio fizzed out, static swallowing every station. My headlights dimmed, flickering even though my battery was fine. And worst of all, the thing in the bag was breathing, slow, deep, wet. A shuddering inhale, then a long, dragging exhale like it was waking up. I don't know how long I drove. An hour? 2? All I know is that I didn't stop until I saw the first sign of life. A house, a farmhouse, old and isolated, sitting on the outskirts of town, the kind of place where no one asked questions. The kind of place that might know what to do with something like this. I pulled into the long gravel driveway, my tires crunching over loose stones. I didn't even kill the engine before stepping out. The house was silent. No lights, no movement. But there was a truck parked out front, engine still warm like someone had just gotten home. Then, before I could knock, the door creaked open. An old man stood in the doorway. Tall, weathered, his skin creased like leather that had been left in the sun too long. His eyes flicked to the truck bed, to the bag, then back to me. "You brought it here," he said. Not a question, a statement. I swallowed hard. "Look, I don't know what this is, but you shouldn't have taken the job." His voice was flat, final, like he already knew how this was going to end. He sighed, rubbing his temple, then stepped onto the porch. "Bring it inside." Every instinct in me screamed no. But I had nowhere else to go. I slid the tarp off the truck bed, gripping the shifting bag like it was full of rattlesnakes. Whatever was inside wasn't moving as much anymore. It felt weaker, like it had been waiting for me to bring it here. I followed the old man into his house, my boots thudding against the wooden floorboards. Inside, the place smelled like sage and wood smoke. Old books stacked in every corner, strange symbols carved into the beams. He led me to the kitchen table. "Put it down." I did. The bag twitched. Then, from inside, a whisper. "Help me." I stepped back, nearly knocking over a chair. The old man didn't move, didn't react. "Listen to me," he said, his voice low, measured. "You're going to want to open that bag. You don't. You hear me?" I nodded, but my eyes were locked on the shifting plastic. Another whisper. "Please." A hand pushed against the inside of the bag, pressing outward like something was trying to escape. My fingers twitched toward my knife. I could cut it open. I could let it out. The old man slammed his fist on the table. "Don't look at it." The whispering stopped. The bag went still. And for the first time, I realized something. I hadn't told him about the call, about the pickup, but somehow he already knew. I stared at him, my pulse pounding. "You know what this is," I said. A pause, then a slow nod. "You're not the first fool to pick up their garbage." I swallowed hard. "Who are they?" He exhaled, rubbing his temple like he was trying to figure out how much to tell me. Then he looked me in the eye. "They aren't people." I felt a chill crawl up my spine. "They've been here longer than us," he said. "Longer than this town, longer than the trees, and every so often..." His fingers drummed against the wood. "They call for someone like you." I shook my head. No, this was just a job, a side hustle, a way to make extra cash. But deep down, I knew. I'd stepped into something older than money, older than business, and whatever was in that bag, it was just the beginning. Would you take the money? Would you keep working the job? Let me know below. Subscribe to Dreadwood Tales so you don't miss the next story, because once you take their job, you don't quit. I should have walked away. I should have burned that bag, thrown my phone in the river, and never looked back. But I didn't, because when the old man told me, "You're not the first," I knew. I wasn't just some random guy who picked up a weird job. I was chosen. And that meant I needed answers. The old man stared at the bag, jaw clenched like he was waiting for something worse. "Sit down," he said. I hesitated. "Kid, you don't want to be standing when this thing starts waking up." I sat. He grabbed a knife from the counter. Not a kitchen knife, not a hunting blade, something older. The kind of thing you see in history books, forged before people knew better than to mess with things they didn't understand. He pressed the flat of the blade against the bag. The plastic convulsed. The thing inside screeched. Not a sound a person makes, not even an animal. Something else. The floor shook beneath us. The lights dimmed. I grabbed the table to keep steady, my stomach twisting. "What the hell? Shut up," the old man snapped. "Don't talk to it, don't even think about helping it." I bit my tongue. The bag twitched again. The whispering returned, soft, desperate. "Please." The old man pressed the knife harder, and the bag convulsed. The thing inside let out a wet, gurgling noise, like it was choking on air, or something worse. I should have been afraid, but something inside me clicked. Something I hadn't realized until right then. The old man wasn't scared of the thing in the bag. He was scared of me. And that's when I understood. This wasn't my first job for them. It wasn't even my second. It was just the first one I remembered. The realization hit me like a gut punch. The weird calls, the missing time, the way my hands always felt dirty even after I washed them. I had done this before, over and over. I just forgot. Because that's how they work. Not with force, not with threats, but by keeping you in the loop until you stop up asking questions, until the work feels normal, until you forget why you started. The old man knew. He saw it in my face. "You remember now, don't you?" I nodded, my throat dry. "You want to know how to stop it?" I swallowed. "Yeah," he sighed, then finished the job. I looked down at the bag, at whatever was inside. I felt my fingers twitch. My body knew what to do, even if my brain was still catching up, because I'd done this before. And I'd do it again. Unless I stopped. Unless I broke the cycle. Unless, bang! A fist slammed against the front door. The entire house shook. My chest locked up, because I already knew who it was. Not a person. Not something that could be stopped with locks or weapons or running. It was them. My employers. And they'd come to collect. The old man grabbed my arm. "You finish this job now, or they take you with them." The bag twitched violently. I grabbed the knife. The whispering turned to screaming. The thing inside begged. I looked at the door. The wood splintered. The house groaned. I had seconds to make a choice. And in the end, I did what I was trained to do. I didn't think. I didn't ask. I just finished the job. Silence. The bag stopped moving. The house stopped shaking. The front door, empty, like nothing had ever been there, like it was just another ordinary night. I dropped the knife, my hands covered in something thick and black. The old man sighed, shaking his head. "You really thought this was the last time, didn't you?" I didn't answer, because deep down, I already knew the truth. You don't quit this job, you just forget it, until the next call, until the next bag, until the next job that pays too well to ask questions. You've got 10 seconds before they break down the door. Do you finish the job or do you run? Comment below what you would do, but remember, they always come back.